Cooning for the Party That Freed the Slaves, the Black Machiavellian Bible by Christophe. Prologue. False liberation. True enslavement. The perfect slave is not the one who is beaten into silence, but the one who never questions his chains. Confederate Control Doctrine, 1863. You awaken each day under the comforting lie of freedom. Yet look closely. The liberation celebrated by today's Democrats is not the shattering of bonds, but a subtle redrafting of them. Once, emancipation was wrought through battle and bold defiance. Now the strategies have transmuted, from the unrelenting maneuvers of war to the seductive tactics of entrapment. The party that now purports to guard your progress is the architect of modern confinement. Under polished rhetoric of opportunity and inclusion, the Democrat Party has refined control. It no longer needs to break bones to bind you. Every benefit is meticulously crafted to curtail self-reliance and nurture dependency. They declare that your emancipation is complete and every right belongs to you by virtue of a hard-won revolution. Yet behind every accolade lurks a calculated sedative, an insidious measure engineered to erode independent will. Do not be swayed by the feigned innocence and altruism that flood the airwaves. Such benign words mask a deliberate weaponization of your need. Let no trace of naivete persist. Before civil rights, black power was forged in the crucible of raw struggle, built in the furnace of adversity by those who, against overwhelming odds, carved out their own destiny. In the post-civil rights era, the same apparatus has merely exchanged overt brutality for an artful seduction of comfort. The methods differ only in appearance. The objective remains unchanged: to subdue the will and funnel every spark of initiative into quiet compliance. Every subsidy and every promise of equality is a calculated deposit into a bank of dependency, a measured dose of docility traded for the illusion of progress. Examine history. It reveals who remains complicit in this seduction. Will you choose comfort over consciousness, or will you reject these soft lies for a more austere, unyielding truth? You must become the master of your own mind, never again surrendering to the seductive lull of state benevolence. Every sentence here is a calculated strike against the deceptive comfort of modern liberation. Every word exposes the cold machinery behind the rhetoric, reminding you that while the tactics have shifted from the brutal clarity of warfare to the subtle art of seduction, the architecture of control remains immutable. Power is not merely a structure to be inherited or imposed. It is the quiet force that courses through every word and every subtle intonation. You have been conditioned not only by what is given to you, but by how it is spoken. The true masters of power do not issue blunt commands. They seduce. They transform promises of salvation into instruments of control, molding your perception before you realize you are being manipulated. Consider Huey Long. In the midst of the 1930s turmoil, this demagogue addressed thousands with a voice both hypnotic and calculating. Long did not merely speak, he cast a spell. Promising radical renewal and wealth redistribution, he turned the language of liberation into a weapon of domination. Every meticulously chosen syllable bound his audience to his vision, convincing them that dependence on his program was not merely inevitable, it was the only path to progress. Do not mistake such eloquence for genuine generosity. In the realm of power, even the softest words can strike as harshly as a lash. Every token of supposed care, every pledge of opportunity is a precise measure meant to dull your inner fire and ensure you remain compliant. This is a realm where the art of power has shifted from overt conflict to the subtle, insidious dance of seduction. Although the language now exudes the gentle rhetoric of progress, the underlying purpose is stark: to diminish your will and perpetuate your dependency. The tactics have evolved from the raw force of war to a seductive game of suggestion, yet the objective is unchanged. Steady yourself. Reject the false emancipation that seduces you with soft comforts and muted promises. Awaken to the reality that your freedom is still under siege, and refuse to remain a willing subject in this system of modern control. There is a peculiar breed of man who embraces subjugation not from ignorance, but from a willing surrender of critical thought. These individuals, far from lacking insight, choose instead to echo the comforting rhetoric of their masters, convincing themselves that their submission is salvation. Their complacency is not born of laziness, but of deliberate seduction, a softening of the mind that renders them incapable of challenging authority. Consider Seneca, the famed Stoic and advisor to Emperor Nero. Once revered for his wisdom, Seneca became entangled in the web of a corrupt regime. His eloquent counsels, intended to guide with virtue, gradually became mere echoes of Nero's despotic will. In his measured words, the art of genuine philosophical inquiry was replaced by the language of appeasement. Though Seneca knew too well the rot at the heart of the imperial court, he allowed his voice to be co-opted by a power that prized conformity over conviction. His fall from grace stands as a stark testament. Even the wise, if seduced by the allure of state-sanctioned comfort, can become a willing instrument of subjugation. Today, this quiet manipulation persists. The state, draped in the soft guise of progress, speaks in tones so gentle that its lethal intent is obscured. Every promise of care, every carefully measured benefit is designed to lull you into accepting dependency as destiny. The language of modern liberation seduces and pacifies, ensuring that those who listen become complicit in their own containment. Do not allow yourself to be captured by the sedative artistry. In the realm of power, complacency is the highest form of betrayal, a subtle yet deadly surrender of your capacity to question. Recognize that in the art of seduction, even the softest words can strike with the force of a cold, calculated blow. Unless you reject this enticing conformity, you risk becoming yet another willing fool, your critical faculties slowly eroded by the smooth cadence of feigned benevolence. The rhetoric of victimhood is the masterstroke of modern power. Consider Black Lives Matter, a rallying cry that proclaims equality and justice, yet conceals a meticulously engineered design meant to harness your raw pain. Its architects, including Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi, have declared themselves trained Marxists on national television while transforming genuine struggle into a doctrine of perpetual dependency. Billions in donations have flowed into organizations that, rather than liberating Black people, have enriched their founders, enabling the purchase of luxurious properties and the cultivation of a self-serving elite. Under the polished veneer of humanitarian concern, the apparatus of state care repackages authentic resistance as a vehicle for widespread submission. Every impassioned slogan is not merely a call for justice, but a measured dose of sedative rhetoric designed to erode your capacity for independent thought. The Democrat establishment has mastered this art. The rhetoric of modern liberation seduces you with promises of care and progress, while each benefit serves as a calculated deposit into a bank of dependency. Do not allow yourself to be lulled by feigned innocence and altruism. Their gentle words, far from offering salvation, mask a deliberate weaponization of your need. This is the highest form of manipulation, not the suppression of your voice, but the orchestration of your outrage. They do not silence you with force. They recruit your pain, refine it, and repackage it as their own currency. Each protest, each chant becomes a commercial, another step in a performance where your grief is the product and their influence the profit. The more you cry out, the more they build. The more injustice you recount, the more capital they raise in your name. Let it be known. The systems of oppression are real. You're simply fighting shadows while the puppet masters pull strings with impunity. They are the capitalists of slave narratives, reaping profits from every film that rehearses your trauma. They are the producers of the deranged ghetto soundtracks that glorify your death and debase your culture. They are the authors of slavery, the architects of the broken Black home, the beneficiaries of the prison industrial complex, the enforcers of redlining, the handlers of family separation policies, and in Cooning, for the party who freed the slaves, the Black Machiavellian Bible, we will name names, trace the lineage of their strategies, and strip away every veil of moral disguise. Remember, emancipation was originally designed to free the bodies of the enslaved, and the Civil Rights Revolution, born of Republican advocacy, was meant to unlock the inherent potential of Negroes. Now, the true battle is fought in the realm of the mind, where the manipulation of perception leaves you captive even when the body is free. Before civil rights, Black agency was carved out in defiance of impossible odds. But today, those who claim to champion freedom have merely perfected the tools of suggestion, shaping perception with surgical precision. The tools of rhetorical seduction are no less violent than the whips of old. They sever clarity, dull resistance, and convert awakening into obedience. You are no longer forced to obey. You are trained to believe it is your idea. Every subsidy and every promise of equality is a calculated measure, a steady dose of docility traded for the illusion of progress. Examine history. It reveals that the mechanism of control has never truly changed. The seductive language of modern liberation is a tool designed to render you docile and compliant, transforming genuine dissent into a profitable asset for those who rule. Do not be fooled into accepting these soft lies. In the realm of power, complacency is the highest form of betrayal, a surrender of your capacity to question, analyze, and ultimately control your destiny. Reject the sedative art of imposed vulnerability, and never again allow yourself to be made a fool by the gentle rhetoric of false emancipation. I have these Negroes voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Lyndon Baines Johnson, Democrat President, 1963 to 1969. They tell you who you are before you've even spoken your own name. They tell you who to hate, who to trust, what to chase, what to fear. They tell you how to dance, how to bleed, how to survive, but never how to live free. They give you slogans to scream but no truth to hold. They hand you heroes wrapped in chains. They paint your history in grayscale, then blame you for not seeing in color. They tell you what justice looks like, but it's always just out of reach. They hand you ballots, not power, welfare, not wealth, a platform, not a foundation. They name your enemies for you, but never themselves. They never look in the mirror. They are the architects of your broken homes, the authors of your manufactured rage, the curators of your silence. They tell you to kneel, to march, to hashtag, but never to question the path they paved, never to ask who profits when you're angry and who disappears when you're whole. You are not their puppet. You are not their guilt trip, their symbol, their storyline. You are not the script they've written in advance. You are the unwritten chapter, the glitch in their machine, the threat they cannot quantify. Your thoughts are dangerous, and your clarity, a weapon, your refusal, the beginning of something they cannot control. So do not bow, do not echo, do not wait for permission to be whole. Rip the narrative from their blood-stained hands and write your own name in fire. Cooning for the Party That Freed the Slaves, the Black Machiavellian Bible by Christophe.